Jack here, JB Music and Guitar Lessons. In this quick guitar tricks, we're looking at some great ways of getting the hang of two-way pick slanting. For more on that, check out Troy Grady's YouTube channel, the patron saint of picking technique as he seems to be, card up there. Alright, 2 note per string here, a lot like my Mateus Zato pentatonics lesson, card on the top right. Rotate your forearm this way, downward pick slanting, start with a down and go through the scale. Doubling that note at the end there, so make sure to keep the pick at a downward slanted angle throughout this, and let's do that a little bit slower. For upward pick slanting, similar idea, but rotate your forearm so it's more sort of this way, and start with an upstroke. And let's do that a tiny bit more slowly. Again, doubling that last note in order to keep the forearm rotation, but more this way this time. So hopefully this will give you an idea of a feel and what it kind of looks like to get these pick slanting angles in. This might seem really insignificant, but I always struggled starting on 2 note per string runs going on a downstroke, because an upward pick slant going through the scale that way was how I tried to pick it, and the opposite going back down the scale. So it might seem really small, but this has had a huge impact on my playing. It's really improved it, and it's still a bit of a work in progress, but it's something that's really worth digging into a bit more. Okay, so those 2 exercises should give you a feel for the approach, or at least an idea. Now if we want to practice switching between them, we could do something like this. You'll notice the note at the end is no longer doubled up, which means in that circle downstroke you want to rotate from a downward pick slant to an upward one. And here is again more slowly, and hopefully you can see my forearm kind of doing this switching movement. And if you want to try switching from an upward to a downward pick slant, we'll start with the forearm rotated this way and that way, and start on the upstroke. Again, switching on that circled note there, this time, as I say, from an upward pick slant to a downward one. So you obviously might need a lot of rotation, you might need a very subtle thing, it's just whatever feels right for you. So I'd suggest trying to sort of over-exaggerate it, almost in a Marty Friedman type way. And then try it more subtly as well. Have an experiment and see what works best for yourself. As a bonus trick, if we just play 1 note per string, we can practice switching between them in rapid succession, downward to an upward slant. So there I'm doing a downstroke to an upstroke, switching straight from a downward pick slant to an up after each note. So there you can see my forearm movements are really minimal, and actually I think I'm maybe using a tiny bit of fingers just to angle the pick a little bit more rather than trying to do it like that. And as you guessed it, if we start on a down, we can go to an up. Sort of inside picking, some people would call this, and it's the same sort of idea. And again, you can see my forearm kind of doing this kind of movement to angle it between the downward and the upward slanting. To begin with, these felt very different for me, but now as I do it more and more, they feel less and less different. It's kind of 6 1/2 a dozen at this point. The exercise is also quite similar to cross picking, so it doubles as a good introduction to that. If you want to use this exercise to switch between both of them, this is one I sometimes do. So I'll maybe start with the down, the up, then double a note here, which gets my pick out of the strings. That means I can switch kind of on the outside of the strings. So I'll pop that in the tab there and play through that exercise. and you can just double up that note again to get back inside the strings. As a final bonus tip, I tend to use this to warm up. It really helps dial in the wrist movement, well, for me anyway. Cool, so those were some pick slanting exercises. This has been Quick Tricks, that's the playlist up there. Check out this video for similar licks, this one for downward pick slanting, Eric Johnson style runs. Hit subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments, share, like, and enable notifications with that little bell on the side, if you feel so inclined. Cheers guys.